Let's talk about mastering your business finances. So when it comes to business finances, I found that there's a wide range of entrepreneurs. They're the entrepreneurs who really understand their numbers. And then there's the entrepreneurs who you're the creative, you're the salesman, you're really good at painting the vision. You're not so good at really managing and making sure the numbers stack up and that there's cash to keep the business going. And one of the biggest mistakes, fallacies, if you like, that many newer entrepreneurs make, and even some seasoned entrepreneurs, is that they get so caught up thinking, well, I'm making money, I'm profitable, the business is in good shape. And what actually happens is your profit and loss might show at the end of the year that you've made a profit, but it's ultimately your cash flow that's going to determine whether you survive as a business or you die. And what I mean by cash flow is if you've got more cash coming in than you do have cash going out, you're in good shape. But if you have more cash going out and you haven't managed that cash flow well, all of a sudden you get hit with a big tax bill, or you get hit with needing to pay out bonuses at the end of the year, and you haven't been saving for that, it can create a big cash gap because you might have gone, oh, look, there's all this money in the bank, I'm going to take some out for me. And it goes back to one of my previous episodes about the profit in your business is not your personal income. If you haven't listened to that episode, go back and have a listen to that. But I want to expand on that. I want to talk about a concept that I really believe will help you master your business finances. It definitely did for me. And this is two parts. One, the power of multiple bank accounts. And secondly, utilizing a profit first mentality. So let's start with this. The first thing you need to do when it comes to multiple bank accounts, I'm a big believer in you need to be separating, first and foremost, your personal and your business. You cannot look at your business bank account as your own personal piggy bank. If you've been doing that, stop that today. That ends. As I said, go back, listen to my episode about why your personal income is not your business profits. Make sure you listen to that episode. So the first thing is, if you are mixing your business and personal stuff, if you're putting personal things on the same credit card as business things, get a separate business credit card, get a separate business bank account. First and foremost, you need to do that if you haven't already done that. That's foundational. But I want to talk to you if you're a business owner who, like me, for maybe you've been in business for a number of years and you've only got one or two business bank accounts. I want to talk to you about an idea that I think will improve your ability to manage cash flow. It's a way that I manage my money personally and have done for many years with what's known as the JAR system. And there's a previous episode about that. We'll make sure we link to that in the show notes, where I talked about how I manage my personal money through these buckets, these different bank accounts known as JARs, created by T. Harv Eker. Now, for a long time, I was like, how do I take this JAR system and apply it to my business? And eventually, I came across a book called Profit First by Mike Michalowicz. And in this book, he basically outlined, I was like, that's it. That's the JAR system effectively for business. So I'm not going to break down the entire Profit First system. If you want to learn more about that, read his book. But let me give you a nutshell. The profit first mentality is this. Your typical business owner, your typical accountant will tell you that your income minus your expenses equals your profit. Let me say that again. Your income, so the revenue, the sales that are coming in, minus your expenses, the things you're spending going out, is equal to your profits. And that makes sense, right? Like, I make 100 grand, I spend 50 grand, I've got $50,000 in profits. That makes sense. The profit first mentality flips this and says, no, your income minus your profit equals your expenses. And so the mentality here is that you go in going, I know how much profit I want to make. So therefore, if I'm going, I want to make $70,000 profit and my revenue or income is only 100,000, then that is telling me I have 30,000 in expenses that I can spend. And so my job is to try and keep my expenses within that 30,000. Now, there's a lot about the profit first mentality that I think is really good to have as your mentality. I personally don't subscribe to it fully rigidly like some in the people who follow profit first do. But here's what I do like. managing your money through buckets, through separate bank accounts. So make sure that you've got a bank account where the income comes into. Then have another bank account for the kinds of things that save up. I have a bank account for profit. So every single month, there is an automated transfer that is taking a certain amount of profit out of that income account and making sure it's in an account for profit. It's for that profit account that then dividends are paid out of, and also I dipped into when I want to reinvest back into the business. So I'm making sure that I'm not looking at the income account and going, look, I've got all this spare cash to spend. I'm making sure that the money that needs to go out is being siphoned out straight away into a separate bank account, all owned by the company, but separate buckets, if you like. So I've got a profit account that instantly every month you want to make sure the amount of money profit you want to be making is being taken out of it. Now here's the cool thing about that though, because you're just moving it into another bank account, if you find that the business is not profitable, if you're struggling to maintain the profit margins you want to, that money is still in the business and available for you to throw back into expenses and things as you need to. But what you've done is you've ensured that when it comes time to pay your dividends, you've actually got a bucket of cash ready to go and you're not dipping in. You haven't spent it because you thought you had it earlier. So you're allocating that money. Another account to have is your tax account, or in Australia, it might be your BAS account. So that every month or every week, you're putting money aside to ensure that you've got money to cover your business activity statement. So you've got PAYG money put aside. You've got a percentage of your revenue that you know, so you're putting that GST aside. So for Australians, you definitely can be doing that. And if you're outside of Australia, if you're in North America and you've got sales taxes, same kind of thing, making sure you're putting those taxes aside ready to pay. So when it comes time to pay the tax man, you're not going, oh, where's all the money? It's been sitting there in a bank account that's either been high interest, or if you own real estate in your businesses, you could be putting that into offset accounts, which could be saving you interest on loans. Also, another account that you might have is vacation leaves or bonuses. If you know that you're going to pay out a bonus at the end of the year, or maybe you have the ability for your team to convert their unused leaves into cash, if you've got those kinds of incentives in your business, it can be really challenging if all of a sudden at the end of the year, you've got to pay out the bonus and all these things happen. You're like, I don't have the cash for it. And so if you've been putting that money aside every single month or every single week into a separate bank account, that's going to help you manage and save for those expenses. So this was just a quick episode to talk about how you can master your business finances by utilizing the power of multiple bank accounts and a profit first mentality. So action steps from here. First things first, look at your current business, look at the profit you're making, and go, if I flip this, if I went with a profit first account and said, okay, my income minus my desired profit equals my expenses, what would my expenses need to be, and what are my expenses currently? So evaluate how they're going. The second thing you'll do from there is then you're going to set up multiple bank accounts. Go and open some more bank accounts. Now, if you're with a bank, ideally find a bank that doesn't charge you a monthly fee for having those bank accounts. The bank that I'm with here in Australia, I'm able to have lots of these bank accounts and they don't charge me a monthly fee. I get charged monthly fee on one of my accounts. All the others, there's zero fees involved on those accounts. So ideally set these up as accounts with no fees and create an account at least for tax, so that you're putting that money aside ready for the tax man and you're not surprised. A profit account, so that you're putting that profit money aside, keeping it in the business, but you're putting it aside so you can at least start to manage and achieve the profits that you would desire. If you've got bonuses or, as I said, incentives where people can convert things into cash, putting a little bit aside each month can really help with that. Something we used to do, we used to run a face-to-face team training, and so every payday we would take a percentage of everyone's pay, add that in, and we'd send that into this account, which would save up for the face-to-face, so that ensure when it came time, we had a big bucket of money ready to invest in that training. So that's it from me. Hope this has been helpful. Go and set up multiple bank accounts and really review what your expenses should be based on the profit you would like to be achieving and the income you have right now. You've been listening to Entrepreneurs Rising. Thank you, dear listener, for tuning in. I appreciate your time and look forward to connecting in future episodes. If you would like show notes or any resources from today's episode, you can find them at rising.show. Rising.show. You can find show notes for this episode and all other episodes, as well as links to socials and the ability to reach out and connect with me, make your suggestions for future episodes. Until next time, keep up the journey.